Hey guys, my name is Moon and welcome back for more Umineko When They Cry. So last episode, it happened again, right? So the second Twilight, people who were close got broken up, I guess. Something like that, right? But yeah, it happened. Hideyoshi and Ava, they are no more. And let's see what happens next, right? I think it's just gonna be like happening now. What do you call this? No, because I thought last time, right? Like when it said, where is it? This one, right? It said here, second twilight. So I thought it was like first day this, second day this, third day this. But it's not 12 p.m. yet, or not 12 p.m. 12 a.m., right? And another one happened. So the third twilight, fourth twilight, fifth twilight. I guess this is gonna be happening much more sooner, right? Until no one is left alive. We shall see. We shall see. But yeah, let us continue. As soon as they walked out into the hallway to head back to the parlor, some of them immediately felt something out of place or maybe sensed something strange.
答えよ。
Stinks.
マリアもわかるか。こりゃ何の匂いだよ。ひでえ匂いだぜ。
When everyone sniffed the air, they did notice a horrible burnt smell drifting through the hallway, one that none of them had smelled until then.
私、ちょっと厨房を見てきます。火はちゃんと消したはずなんですよ。
After noticing a burnt smell, it was natural that Kumasawa, who had just been using the burner in the kitchen, suspected that their own slip-up had caused it. Kumasawa hastily dashed away.
カノン、熊沢と行きなさい。一人にさせないように。
はい。
After nodding at Genji's orders, Kanon followed her after her, sorry. He wasn't running, but as he followed her, he tried to search for the cause of the smell in other directions as well.
臭い。
Kusai, yes, Kusai. Smells bad.
ふーん。
これは確かに鼻が曲がりそうな匂いですね。しかし換気のために窓を開けてもいいものか。
Natsuki was reluctant to open the windows in a situation where self-defense was so important.
換気扇を回させましょう。窓を開ける必要はないと思います。
ジョージの兄貴、話しかけても大丈夫かよ。犯人を探す相談なら構わないよ。
It seemed that George had managed to climb out of the abyss of sorrow. All that filled his chest now was the quiet flame of a hatred towards a culprit who had stolen the lives of one he loved and his parents or beloved parents.
部屋にはチェーンがかかってた。さっき構造を見たが、とても外から細工できる代物じゃねえ。つまり、完璧な密室だったってことだ。
そうなるね。バラ庭園の倉庫の時は、シャッターの鍵を使用人室からこっそりと持ち出したのだろうとか、あるいは、複製の鍵を持っていた可能性とか、いくつか方法が想像できた。でも、チェーンは違う。チェーンは一般に浸透した施錠方法の中で、最もシンプルに密室を構築できる。
But the chain is different. Okay, among generally used locking techniques, a chain is the simplest one to create a closed room with.
チェーンだけは物理的に破壊しない限り外からはどうにもならないぜ。じゃあつまり犯人は扉からは出入りしなかったってことなのか。
Yeah, so did this mean the culprit couldn't have gone in or out through the door? Yeah, the only logical way that the culprit would have come or went there is through the windows only, right? Or maybe, yes, as with Kinzo's place, right? Let's say, I mean, we're just assuming that Kinzo's room has like a secret, secret area or secret place that he can get out to. Maybe there's something there as well that connects that to like different areas of the mansion. So maybe someone went inside there, right? Using like a secret door or something, and then he did that. Or she did that, I mean. Could be, right? Because yeah, if someone did that normally, the only way they could go and leave is through the window. And I think it's very, very high, right? And it's not really... Maybe it's hard, is what I'm saying.
こりゃ面白いや。つい数時間ほど前にも、扉以外でどうやって部屋から出入りしたのかって、みんなで騒いだ気がするぜ。
Oh yeah, they were talking about that, right? And yeah, that was what was Natsui and Ava arguing about, and now it happened to her, to Ava. Back then, we were losing all our cool, wondering how grandfather had disappeared from his room. The receipt Aunt Ava stuck in the door on a whim proved that the door had remained sealed. And since Aunt Nazi was the only person to enter or exit during that time, she was under suspicion. Aunt Ava proposed a theory about how Aunt Nazi might have thrown grandfather out of the window and left by the door herself. But this door is much simpler. It was sealed from the inside by a door chain. The window had also been locked from the inside and the bodies had been inside the room. See? Yeah, that's why I was like, for the window, it was locked inside, right? Even if someone had the ladder there and went up, how would a person close the window, right? From the inside? You cannot do that. So the only thing, or if it is a human that did this, is there is a secret room or a secret let's say secret door that that person used to get inside of here and then use it as well to get outside, right? It can't be that that person was just hiding there, right? Let's say he did that or she did that, and then let's say he was just waiting underneath the bed, for example, right? But how could a person just get outside, get out, I mean? That's impossible, right? That's literally so hard to do. And now that they sealed the room, right? They closed it. If the person is still inside a room, I don't know. Yeah, probably there's some secret here. Secret room or secret door. But if it's not human, maybe Beatrice, right? Yeah, supernatural stuff. That's the only guesses here. Either a secret door or either it was Beatrice that did this. It really was her, I mean. That this time, it really had been, without exaggeration, a true closed room. That's right. If you include a grandfather's disappearance, 3 cases have occurred and all 3 times the door has been the point of interest. This was the shutter. There was a key in the servant room, and if you assume someone knew about that, this can't really be called a closed room. Like, look at this room of Kinzo, man. You saw that? That room is so big, a lot of bookshelves. You can hide a hidden door there. The next was a door sealed by the receipt. However, Aunt Nazi entered that room. So if grandfather had left through the window or been thrown out, she would have been able to lock the window before escaping. But yeah, if there is supernatural stuff involved in here, then everything I said, just throw it out the window then. Because it's just magic, I guess, right? Or like my theory, grandfather could have been hidden until the receipt was gone and left the room later. Basically, this door can be defeated with a handful of desperate tricks. In that sense, you really can't call this one a closed room either. And now we have the door sealed with a door chain. Finally, we have to give up. The window, the door, everything had been locked. It was a perfect closed room. The first hadn't been a closed room because everyone could be suspected. The second hadn't been a closed room because Aunt Natsuhi could be suspected. But this time, no one can be suspected. This was the perfect closed room because the door chain formed a seal that blocked everyone equally well. True, very true.
なら、犯人は室内に入らずに犯行に及んだ。
But then maybe you could argue it's maybe Maria, right? I mean, when you open a door, even though it has a chain on it, right? It opens up a little bit, right? Yeah, it opens up. What if Maria could get inside? I mean, she's small frame, little girl, right? What if she's the one doing all of this? I mean, she's crazy, right? Her other personality, scary. But no, I'm just looking at it at a logical situation, not by magic. So I'm thinking of this different stuff that might or maybe happened, right? Like, it's hard to believe. Look at Beatrice looking at us here. But yeah, magic until it happens, it's hard to say, right? Until like supernatural stuff actually happens, we'll put that on the side for now, right?
部屋の外から何らかの方法で。
確かにチェーンである以上、人が通れるほどは開けなくても多少の隙間を開けることができる。ノックして顔を覗かせたところを襲うとか。いや、甘いか。
甘いよな。エヴァおばさんの遺体が扉のすぐそばだったならそれも考えたぜ。だがエヴァおばさんは部屋の奥のベッドの上。しかも秀吉おじさんはバスルームだった。チェーンの隙間からでは姿を見ることもできねえし、手を伸ばすこともできねえ。ちくしょう、全然ダメだぜ。さっぱりだ。
Something was tugging softly at my sleeve. It was Maria.
おお。
満足って何がだよ。
バトラは親族の誰かを疑うのが嫌だから、犯人はベアトリーチェであってほしいと願ったよ。だからベアトリーチェは叶えた。バトラが言った通り、絶対に人間には無理なことをして、バトラに魔女の存在を信じさせてくれた。なのにわがまま。
I tapped Maria, who was laughing unpleasantly on the head with my fist.
ああ、叶えてくれてありがとうよ。今のはその礼と、不謹慎な時に笑ったことへの教育的指導だ。それより教えやがれ。エヴァおばさんたちの部屋の扉にも、また怪しげな落書きがされていた。あれもまた魔法陣なのか。
あれは特に覚えやすい特徴的な形なんだから、あのくらい知っててほしいね。あ、痛い。
知らねえから花を持たせてやってんだ。ごちゃごちゃ言わねえで解説しろい。
バトラは暴力的だね。あんまり意地悪すると教えないよ。あ、痛い。
Honestly, when I'm thinking about, seeing Maria like this, right? And I'm thinking about the characters in Higurashi. Like, yeah, there are young girls as well, right? Yeah, especially Satoko and Rika. I don't think we had someone like this, right? Yeah, at least the for the girls, for the younger ones, right? Like, look at Maria here. She's laughing, her face very creepy, right? Yeah, she's very different, I mean, compared to the ones there, is what I'm saying. And especially here, first chapter, right? And then she's acting like this already. It adds to the creepiness. Like in Higurashi, the first chapter, it was a build-up through the episodes, right, until it was over, the first one. But for this one, yeah, we haven't, I don't know how long this one is, but it doesn't look like we're gonna be ending soon. But yeah, she's being creepy already. Like, especially when she was reading the letter, right, the first time, right? You saw her face the first time, her changing the way she talks and all of that. Yeah, creepy since the beginning.
言うよこの筋骨男。あれは月の一の魔法陣だよ。
何の意味がある？その魔法陣のご利益は？書かれてるヘブライ語の意味は？
記されているのは旧約聖書詩編第107編の16節。
The Old Testament.
主は聖堂の扉を破り、鉄の栓抜きを打ち破ってくださいました。魔法陣の効用は2つ。1つは、いかなる方法によって閉ざされた扉でも開くことができる。
そりゃ便利な魔法だぜ。つまり、魔法の力に頼らなきゃ開けぬ密室の扉っていう魔女様のアピールってわけか。もう一つの効用は？
開かぬ扉を八方塞がりの事態に見立て、扉を開く。難解な事態の時に用いることで、それまで思いつきもしなかった解決策を与えてくれるんだよ。平たく言うと、観察力や洞察力、ひらめきや直感を授けてくれるんだね。ベアトリーチェはバトラごとき人間風情に、この扉の開き方がわかるものかって挑発してるんだよ。
Okay, we need Rosa back. Yeah, we need her back.
よーし、もう黙れご苦労。上等だぜ。その魔女の挑戦、受けてやら。
マリアちゃん、この世に魔女も悪魔も存在しない。父さんと母さんは誰かが殺した。
Don't say that to her, George.
それが僕のよく知る人間なのか知らない人間なのかはわからない。でもそのどちらであっても必ず人間なんだ。
しかしどうやって、せいぜい10センチ程度しか開かない扉の隙間からどうやったら室内の2人を。
それにしても耐え難い匂いです。一体何事なのですか？
But dude, the wait, right? The wait on finding out how it happened. So yeah, we are in the first chapter, right? And then first four, let's say it's episodes in this game. So first 4 episodes are the question arcs, basically, right? So the earliest time we would know something would be in the answer arcs. In the 5th episode, oh my god. That's probably gonna be at 100 episodes from now. Kanon and Kumasawa, who had gone on ahead, realized the smell wasn't coming from the kitchen even before they arrived there. That was because they noticed an even thicker wave of stench rising up from the stairs leading to the basement, which they passed on their way to the kitchen.
ボイラー室。
The boiler room.
またボイラーの調子が悪いんでしょうか。
But imagine if Kinzo was there, right? He was in the boiling room. That's why it smells like something was burnt or something. Those stairs led to the underground boiler room. Yeah, I would not be surprised if Kinzo is there. Let's see. The mansion's boiler was an old and in poor condition. Both of them had witnessed problems with the boiler on several occasions, but they had never smelled the boiler belching out a stench like this before. Slam.
今の音は。
Look at Kanon's face, man. First time I see Kanon like this. The thing they heard from the basement was definitely the sound of a door closing. Kumasawa had phrased it as a question, but she already knew it couldn't be anything else. Kumasawa was so surprised at that sound that her knees gave way yet again and she cowered. After all, at that very moment, no one could have been in that boiler room. Just a few seconds ago, everyone had been crowded together around Ava and Hideyoshi's room. So who caused the sound of a door closing just now?
Kanon-san!
Dude, Kanon is gonna go alone? Oh my god, after taking a second to sort out the situation, Kanon ran down towards the basement. Since they heard the sound of a door closing just now and there was no sign of anyone coming out of the stairs, the person who closed the door had to be inside the boiler room now. If the boiler room had been a dead end, Kanon wouldn't have rushed in so hastily. But Kanon was a servant, so he knew. There was two entrances to the boiler room, one that opened to the mansion and that one that opened into the courtyard. If he hadn't chased them now, they might slip away. Kumasawa reached the same conclusion long after Kanon did, but she couldn't let him go alone. If the thing in the boiler room was the culprit, an opponent who had easily killed 6 adults in the first murder, then no matter how Kanon confronted them, he wouldn't be a match. Of course, with his argument, even if Kumasawa joined him, it wouldn't change anything. At any rate, after a delay, Kumasawa decided she mustn't let Kanon go alone and she rushed down the stairs. Okay, here we go. Gotta open that. At the time, Kanon was already in the boiler room. The boiler room's characteristic damp heat tormented him. It had always been an unpleasantly smelly and hot place. And on top of that, the room was full of that horrible stench which made Kanon feel like he was going to be sick. There was no doubt that this room was the source. In that case, Kanon should have been searching for where the smell was coming from. However, Kanon kept gazing straight forward as he grabbed the hatchet from a tool shelf just off the side of the door. He hadn't stretched out his hand because he'd wanted a hatchet. He had wanted to grab a weapon, any weapon. But why? Kanon gazed into the darkness, where the naked light bulb couldn't pierce. Then he answered.
ルーレットは数字と赤黒にかけて配当を競い合う。だが赤か黒かのようなリスクの低い賭けはその程度の配当しか与えられない。
The words coming from Kanon-kun's mouth were swallowed up by the darkness. The darkness suddenly started to swirl, glittering. Oh hell no. The butterflies are back. Kanon-kun, oh no, Kanon gonna die. It was such a fantastical scene, golden sparkling butterflies that hid in the shadows all over the boiler room, flapped their wings, twinkling beautifully and gathered in the darkness, disappearing. Kanon continued speaking directly his words at the darkness as it swallowed the butterflies up. But as the butterflies gathered in the darkness, they would certainly laugh. But Kanon continued to speak without faltering the slightest.
逆により的中率の低いかけ方をすれば
But does Kanon
そ
see
の
the
リスクに
butterflies?
比例した配当が与えられる。親方様は天文学的なリスクを的中できることを奇跡と呼び、その結果得られる天文学的な配当を魔法と呼んでいた。親方様とお前がどんな魔法を求めてルーレットに挑んでいるのか、そんなことには興味ない。しかしお前は忘れている。ルーレットには赤でも黒でもない目が出うることを。
Sorry, I accidentally clicked it. Okay, roulette has a special pocket called Zero, which means that the house takes everything in certain variants of the game. This means that all of the coins built on the table will be swept up just as though everyone has forfeit.
僕は一つだけ心に決めていた。もしシャノンが殺されて 僕が生き残るようなことがあったなら、この身を投げ出して、お前のルーレットを全て台無しにしてやろうと。これは、親方様が決めたルールでも、ましてや、お前が決めたルールでもない。このルールは僕が作った。僕は、もう家具じゃない。お前のルーレットの、ゼロなんだ。
I'm not the furniture anymore. Ooh, I'm the zero on your roulette, I mean, sorry. Kanon's face twisted with humiliation. It was clear that his defiance against his own weaknesses was being ridiculed somehow. Kanon's brow creased even further, and the fierce expression that he'd never shown to anyone appeared in his face. The hand grasping the hatchet was shaking. His sweat became drops which slid downward. It was clear that the emotion causing Kanon's hand to shake wasn't just anger. However, Kanon suppressed that emotion.
僕はもう、お前の言葉に惑わされたりはしない。悪魔のルーレットはこれでおしまいだ。地獄にてさらに1000年。次の召喚者を待つがいい。ベアドリーチェ！
When Kanon raised the hatchet and tried to dive into the darkness definitely sneered. It sneered at that courage as if it were vulgar, lazy, futile, and meaningless. No, is Kanon-kun gonna die? Hurry up. Oh my god. Kanon, his hatchet still held aloft. Couldn't take another step after that. Okay, what did it say here again? Let me see again. No. Said here, on the third twilight, those who remain shall praise my noble name. Okay. Praise my noble name. With a clang, the hatchet that had been grasping fell and rolled on the floor. Kanon. And following that, with a pair of thuds, Kanon's knees hit a left and right. Then a hand, which looked like it was trying to catch the sky, and now that the hatchet had been dropped, gradually lowered, landing on his chest. Then the other hand did the same. Right there, a handle with a demon-shaped design was buried into his chest. The same type of weapon that had been stabbed into Ava and Hideyoshi's foreheads was in Kanon's chest. No, but yeah, why is it that Kanon died though? No, Kanon. But yeah, was it the chest? Did it say the chest? I'll see again. I didn't check. I should have print this. I write this in my wall. On the fourth twilight, gouge the head and kill. Chest. This is a chest. What do you mean gouge the head? What? Okay, the fourth twilight is head, but yeah, Kanon is the chest though. Okay, and it said chest right earlier. Kanon was curled up in an anguish, fresh blood dribbling from the corner of his mouth. It was make up too extreme for Kanon's white skin. Around the scene, the glittering gold butterflies danced through the darkness, mesmerizing. It was a beautiful, beautiful dance, a funeral march of tribute, ridicule, and contempt for a single boy's self-sacrifice. Kanon had already been prepared for his own death, but although he could do nothing but accept the death he had received, he attempted one last measure of resistance. He grasped the handle of the weapon sticking into his chest with both hands, and gritting his teeth with an acute, unearthly pain, he pulled it out. Dude, you would die much more faster if you pulled it. Yeah, for only a moment, a bright ray or red spray gushed out. If you got stabbed or anything, always remember to not pull it out. Yeah, especially if it's deep. Do not pull it out because you will bleed out. It made an unpleasant bloop sound. It probably resembled the sound of Cannon's soul as it was sucked into the swamp of the dead.
カノンさん
No, Kumasawa.
誰か
Kumasawa screamed at the incomprehensible sight in front of her. Kanan was lying in a pool of blood. Kumasawa's heart was a complete mess. What a horrible fate. He wouldn't have been killed if I had been with him. What incredible luck. If I had been with him, I might have been killed too. As she screamed, her expression was filled with complete confusion and all of the muscles of her face were pulled up almost as though she was smiling while crying. But no one could have made fun of an expression like this.
何事ですか、熊
Oh
沢
no, Nazi!
返事をしなさい、熊沢
The first one to dash in was Natsui holding the rifle. And then Butler and Genji dashed in after her. Normally, they probably would have started discussing the origin of that violent stench of filling the boiler room. But after they saw Kanon, who was lying on the ground as if he were drowning in an ocean of his own blood, the stench wasn't important anymore.
返事をしなさい源氏、南條先生をここに
Natsui realized that even though Kanon was on the verge of death, he was still conscious, so he sent Genji to get the doctor. Natsui, holding the rifle aloft, faced the darkness in the center of the boiler room and shouted,
そこに隠れているものは何者ですおとなしく出てきなさいそちらから出てこないなら容赦なく撃ちます
ライトだ
"We need the light."
おばさん照らすぜ
Yes, just shoot! Butler, thinking quickly, took a large flashlight from the tool shelf alongside a door and used the light to cut through the darkness Nazi he was glaring into. But the light only shone on mechanical-looking piping in the door. The door had been left open, a small crack, and it was obvious that someone had left through here, or left through there, in a hurry.
夏日おばさんあの扉はどこへ
源氏あの扉はどこに通じているのですか
I mean, obviously she doesn't know that, I guess, right?
中庭です
The courtyard.
逃がすかよクソこの野郎
Butler let out a war cry as he slammed into the door. Cool air from outside suddenly rushed in. There were some thin, rough stairs leading up. Butler ran up them, shouting,
待ちなさいバトラ君一人では危険です
Nazi was also rushing up the stairs, chasing after Butler. They were in the courtyard. The courtyard of the mansion had been built strictly for lighting purposes, so it wasn't a very elegant place. Because it was surrounded on all sides, the air was calm and completely undisturbed, even though they could hear the sound of strong winds. There was only the gentle, sorrowful rain. As they ran through the cold and scattered raindrops dashing up the stairs into the courtyard, Butler looked in every direction. Of course, the odds of him finding a suspicious silhouette just standing around nonchalantly were pretty much zero. Butler spun, looking all around. He turned again and again. He kept spinning until he almost lost sense of direction. He prayed that he would see the culprit somewhere in the scenery. But there was no chance. All he saw as he spun was more and more of the mansion's heartless walls and windows. Furthermore, there were two entrances in the mansion from the courtyard, and neither of them were locked. Because the courtyard couldn't be entered from the outside the mansion, the doors had been built without locks. He didn't know which one they had left for. He had to give up. Butler pounded the wall with his fist, swearing.
バトラ君、一人で先走ってはダメです。バトラ君。
Right, Butler pressed his forehead against the wall, which he scratched at with his fingernails as he cried.
畜生畜生畜生エヴァおばさんに秀吉おじさん、さらにカノン君かよ。6人も殺しやがった。飽き足らずさらに3人も殺しやがった。ふざけるなふざけるな。エヴァおばさんも秀吉おじさんも昔からいつも優しくしてくれる愉快なおばさんたちだったじゃねえかよ。カノン君とは昨日会ったばかりだが、きっとこれから仲良くなれたと思うぜ。なんで殺したんだ。どうしてどうして。人ってのはな、殺しちまったらな、二度と生き返らねえんだぞ。タケノコみてえにひょいひょい生えてきちゃ来ねえんだぞ。どうして殺すんだよ。どうしてどうして。
Butler was a boy who could understand the feelings of pain and regret in a person's heart. So he cried with all his strength. Nazi, who had always thought of Butler as a frank person, was a little surprised to find that he had his delicate side. And at the same time, she understood how easily hurt the heart of a young person could be, so she held him.
大地、あなたもジョージ君もマリアちゃんもジェシカも私は絶対に守ります。母として、そして後宮家の代表として。
Butler, after sobbing into Natsui's chest for a while, wiped his tears with a bitter smile as though he had been like that the whole time, and tried to appear as though he'd cried more than enough already.
とにかく一度下に戻りましょう。犯人を探すより自分たちの身を守る方が最優先です。明日になれば船が来る。
But it's so annoying though, right? If you're in that position, I mean, not just annoying, it's scary. You don't know what's happening. It's annoying as well because yeah, they're picking you off. I mean, one by one. Sure, it was 6 in the beginning, and then 2, and then 1 now with Kanon, right? Every couple hours, someone is being killed, right?
そうすれば警察がやってきて、全てを白日の下にさらし出してくれるでしょう。
And you don't want that to happen anymore, right? But you can't do anything because
犯人がどうあがこうともこの島から逃げられるものですか。
tomorrow the boat will arrive, and that's if you survive until tomorrow.
そうっすね。警察さえ来れば。
When seagulls cry, the crime will be solved. But for some reason, Butler felt a sense of uneasiness, as if the seagulls would never cry again. That couldn't be true. When the typhoon passes, surely the lively seagulls will return to the harbor yet again. I wonder what Jessica is gonna say, right? Kanon-kun. I returned to the boiler room along with Aunt Natsui and told everyone weakly that we hadn't found anything. We heard that Dr. Nanjo and George Aniki had carried Kanan-kun to the servant room. The servant room had a first aid kit and a sink and could apparently function as a nurse's office. Wait, Kanan-kun is still alive? Kumasawa-san and Jessica had accompanied them. Stains from Kanan's blood remained on the floor. Judging by the large amount of blood loss and the rudely shape of the weapon that had fallen carelessly to the ground, I figured that Dr. Nanjo's treatment would probably end in vain. Yeah, especially you can't really do anything, right? Except basic first aid, and then help would come. You're not even sure tomorrow, right? And yeah, I don't think Kanan-kun would survive until that time. That weapon was doubtly the same type that had been stuck in Aunt Ava and Uncle Hideyoshi's foreheads. But wait, isn't the demonic design on the handle a little different? Can you actually show us the weapon though? But yeah, they showed it with Hideyoshi last episode, but I wanted to actually see it. There seemed to be some small difference in that part. Still, as far as their overall shape was concerned, the weapons were all the same type. Though it seemed brutal, we'd left the weapon stuck into Aunt Ava and Uncle Hideyoshi to preserve the crime scene. So this was the first time we were able to have a perfect view of the entire weapon. As we had expected, the weapon was not bladed like a knife, but shaped like an ice pick. Or rather, a thin stake. And it had a spiral-shaped pattern, sort of like a drill. It looked like that might be driven into the hearts of human sacrifices in some demonic ritual. Including the handle, it was 25 centimeters long. That's pretty long. Half of that was a stake-shaped part which was stained with deep red blood. The length of the blood-stained part made it clear just how deeply it must have penetrated into Kanan-kun's chest. But Aunt Natsui and the rest didn't even look at the weapon, instead stood in front of the incinerator where the horrible stench was emanating from. They must have dragged out that thing which had been burning in the furnace. Okay, what thing then? It was still smoldering and kept sending out dense waves with an awfully unpleasant smell. Genji-san and Maria stared down at it. Aunt Natsui probably couldn't stand to look at it directly. She kept shaking her head, her back at it. What? I thought nothing could surprise me after everything that's happened, but this is... Yeah, what is it then? I stood there for a while moaning with a rising urge to vomit. Is it Ginzo? The true source of that unearthly stench. It was a scorched corpse that had been cooking inside the incinerator. The clothes, the surface of the body, and the hair were all hideously burned. The grotesque corpse was in a state where not the face, nor the age, nor even the gender could be guessed at. But when I thought about calmly, I realized that a corpse appearing at this time could only be one person. It was Oji-san, grandfather, who had disappeared that morning and whose whereabouts had been unknown.
おそらく親方様だと思います。
I mean, it's been burned, yeah, for hours, I guess. So maybe the body shrunk, right, a little bit already. So you couldn't really tell now who it is. But if you're guessing with the people, yeah, it is Kinzo though. No one else is here except him, right? Yeah, the 6 that initially died, and then Kinzo was missing, so it's definitely him this time.
私も同感です。
Yeah, because yeah, hair, clothes, everything would have been burned already by now.
このようなお姿でお亡くなりになるとは。おいたわしや。
でもこの死体本当にじい様だって保証はあるんすか？
Unless someone took a corpse from the storehouse, right? This is Kinzo. Yeah. Other than that, there's no one else.
こうも黒焦げじゃ性別さえも想像つかないってのに。
バトラ君、足をご覧なさい。
Aunt Natsuhi, with her handkerchief over her mouth and her eyes averted, pointed and told me to look at the burnt corpse feet.
両足の指です。
6 toes. Wait, what? 6 toes?
本当だ。
Just as Genji-san had said, there were 6 toes in each foot. Each individual toe had looked so normal in its line that I hadn't noticed.
親方様はお生まれの時から両足の指に特徴がございました。そして故に親方様は後宮家の最高を託されたのです。
So he really is special. He got 6 toes.
後宮家には昔から生まれつき多子症の方が多かったそうです。
Cases of polydactyly. What does polydactyly mean? Is that okay? Let me continue while I look at it.
多分遺伝的なものでしょう。
Hereditary? Polydactyly means many fingers, okay. Because of a little mistake by God, when the person is born, one of their toes or fingers splits into 2 and the total number increases. Okay, so it's a genetic thing, I guess, for them. Hereditary. But a big deal isn't usually made of polydactyly in the world at large. That's because it isn't a disease, just something people are born with. So while they're still babies, at about the same time they turn 1 year old, they can be taken to the hospital and given surgery to make them normal. Yeah, I guess, yeah, you wouldn't notice, right? If your parents, got 6 fingers, for example, remove the 1 so people wouldn't, make fun of you or whatever. You wouldn't even notice. Even a child with polydactyly can be treated before they become aware, so they might not even remember it themselves. By the way, it seems that there's a possibility for this to occur in 1 out of every 2,000 babies. So even though it is not usually seen, it isn't that rare at all. Speaking of which, I think Uncle Hideyoshi mentioned something to me long ago. Something about how even Toyotomi Hideyoshi, the man who unified Japan, at the end of the Sengoku period, had 6 fingers in 1 hand. According to Aunt Nazi, among the many Oshiromiya family heads, the one most praised for their wisdom all had polydactyly. Because of that, when grandfather was born, his relatives are all excited at the thought that he might become another wise leader. But then he became the leader. He was the only one left, right? And when the leading relatives all died in the Great Kanto earthquake, it was apparently argued that grandfather should be the one to restore the family because of the auspicious sign of his birth. If a grandfather hadn't disliked his position as the head so much, the 6th though probably would have been pretty lucky for him. Come to think of it, I've heard about some country where it's believed people with polydactyly should be treated as gods and revered. This is beside the point, but it's fairly common in the mystery novels for a corpse to be burned to hide its identity. I wonder though, right? Like, for example, thousands of years ago, or let's say hundreds of years ago, right? Back then, imagine if you are born like that, you got much more fingers, toes, or let's say very, very tall. Yeah, people would be looking at you differently. Very, very special, I mean. But I guess that in grandfather's case, just toasting him wouldn't be enough. And their grandfather's body was not simply burned. It was just like Aunt Ava and Uncle Hideyoshi, and a thing that had been stabbed into Kanon-kun's chest. One of those demon ice picks was stuck into his forehead. What?
指に
Oh,
当時
okay,
の
okay.
指輪がありません。
No, I got confused. I thought Kanon-kun had a ice pick on his head. It's Kinzo. The head ring is not on his finger.
昨夜の手紙の通りということですか。お父様、さぞやご無念でしょう。
Natsui-san let her head droop and close her eyes tightly. This room had also become a vital crime scene for us to hand over to the police. It was decided we will leave grandfather's corpse here and lock the room, sealing it. It isn't clear when grandfather's corpse started burning in the incinerator. Since according to Genji, the strength of the flames hadn't been that strong, the body must have started burning a long time ago. So the stench could slowly creep out of the furnace and fill the room bit by bit, eventually pouring out and climbing up the staircase. Putting aside whether he was rare or well done, grandfather had been brought out, killed, and burned, even though he had started out locked away in the closed room created by his autolock. There's probably no doubting this. However, according to Genji-san, the boiler room is usually locked. The possibility that someone outside our group had snuck in and committed the crime was overwhelmingly high. And there was also a good chance that this person was walking around with someone or something like a master key. After all, the doors and windows throughout the mansion had been checked. But despite the culprit was able to strut around the mansion freely. Dude, if I were them, with all the situation happening right now, I mean, they've done it already earlier, right? Stay in one room, a small room, until tomorrow. Yeah, just get some water, get some food. There is a bathroom in the room, right? Just stay there, right? Yeah, and don't go out anymore. But yeah, unless someone like burns the house or yeah, smokes or yeah, just pretty much like burns it, then just stay there. If no one does anything, and then you can leave tomorrow. Does this crime confirm that the 19th person exists? There's still that contradiction since they're trying to tout their existence without ever showing themselves once. Along with the Kirei-chan's or Kirei-san's chessboard theory, I've been using this contradiction to deny the existence of a 19th person by spinning the chessboard around once more. The very fact that this crime makes it perfectly obvious that a 19th person exists means that the existence of a 19th person is even less plausible now. As long as the 19th person doesn't show themselves in front of us. If the culprit could get grandfather out through the door sealed by the receipt, if they could kill Aunt Ava and Uncle Hideyoshi from the other side of a door sealed by a chain, then they could possibly go far as to create a fictional 19th person through strange tricks and devices. If you still want to believe that the culprit is among the 18, then the list of suspects have grown very, very short. The four of us kids, Aunt Natsuhi, Genji-san, Kumasawa Bachan, Dr. Nanjo, one of these people has to be the culprit. Wait, we can't be sure of that. Just a second ago, we started doubting whether the corpse here was actually grandfather, right? Maybe we can think of the other bodies in the same way. For example, the first 6 all had their faces horribly smashed. Some of the bodies had kept enough of their faces for us to confirm who they were, but that old bastard, for example, had lost his entire face as though the whole thing had been neatly peeled off. We only figured out which body was which by their clothes and surroundings. Did a culprit prepare a fake body beforehand and alter it to make it look like they died, even though they were actually hiding somewhere after committing the crime? Did I actually said that though, yeah? Maybe someone within the first 6, right, was faking it and then put a fake body there. You wouldn't even notice, right? Like if you swap out a body. Yeah, it's kind of hard if you smash the face, right? But maybe we can look at it. And who has the face smashed, like fully, I mean? Kraus, partial. Rudolph, full face. Kyrie, full face. Rosa, full face. Shannon, partial, can see the eye. Goda, full face, right? I wonder though. I wonder. It may sound ridiculous, but it wouldn't be an impossible trick to pull off. It's too early to give in to this 19th person. No, this witch.
マリアちゃん、それ以上しげしげと見てはなりません。さあ、バトラ君も。カノンの容体も気になりますし、いつまでもこのようなところにはいられません。戻りましょう。
おー。
Maria didn't go out with everyone else but remained in the boiler room. The thing she was staring so fixedly at probably wasn't grandfather's body, but the demon ice pick sticking out of his forehead. It was probably the sort of item that an enthusiast couldn't bear to ignore. Yeah, she doesn't care. She looks at this occult thingy, right? And then she's much more fascinated with that. I tapped her on the head.
おい、マリア。ベアトリーチェの目的は何なんだ？
Oh, Beatrice is mentioned. Is she gonna change again?
俺たち全員の命か。
Oh! Oh, there we go. Oh my god, it's like a switch. Say Beatrice or a witch, she changes.
ベアトリーチェはもうすぐ蘇るんだよ。その時、誰も生き残れはしない。
よくも笑えるもんだぜ。自分だけ蚊帳の外だと思ってるのか？どうして自分の身に危機が迫っていると感じない？どうして怯えない？
ベアトリーチェは約束してくれたもん。私は黄金郷へ連れて行ってもらえるんだよ。そこはね、しがらみも何もない全ての人たちがずっと一緒にいつまでも優しくし合っていける素敵な場所なんだよ。私は楽しみだよ。その時はもうすぐだもん。
Just what kind of person is Maria? I only know what Maria was like 6 years ago when she was 3 years old. She was once pure and obedient, a good kid. I mean, 6 years. Yeah, you could say it's a short time, but in turn, it is, yeah, a lot of things can happen, right? Just who is she, this witch who calls herself Maria? To Maria, who obstinately believes in the witch, the series of unsolvable crimes is a proof that the witch actually exists. Every time something occurs that would be difficult for a human, it becomes a little harder for the rest of us not to believe in Beatrice. It must be an intense pleasure for Maria to see her relatives who once firmly denied the witch's existence start acknowledging that the witch's existence one by one. Is that why she's in high spirits?
マリア、もう一遍だけ聞く。どうせ答えは同じだろうが、もう一遍だけ聞く。お前は昨日、バラ庭園で手紙をもらった。そいつは誰なんだ？
おお。だからベアトリーチェ。バトラがまだ信じない。おお。
Maria only repeated what she had already said. Maria met with a 19th person, the witch. Was there really a 19th person, or did one of the 18 just get her to say that? All that's certain is that Maria has been with the rest of us constantly, has always had an alibi, and hasn't done anything suspicious. She's simply overjoyed at being made Beatrice's messenger and certainly isn't the 19th person. Supposedly. That's right. I wonder what's written in the letter we picked up in Aunt Ava and Uncle Hideyoshi's room. Yeah, we gotta see what's inside the letter. Aunt Natsui should still have it with her. Okay, we did it. We did it. What time is it? 8? Was it 1 hour? In the end, Kanan-kun did not regain consciousness, even though Dr. Nanjo and the rest did all they could to heal him. Of course, there was very little that could be done on an island like this without medicine or proper facilities. However, Conan was the only human ever to confront the culprit. If only he could give us some kind of clue. However, at the time they carried Conan away, it was already too late.
申し訳ありません。
Okay, let's take a break here for now. Kanan-kun, still alive probably, right? But unconscious. But who did Kanan-kun see? Yeah, it's very hard to say. Person? Is it Beatrice? I don't know. But yeah, the boiler room, Kinzo was there, his body, I mean. So yeah, we're seeing people getting off one by one now. Last episode, Eva Hideyoshi, now Kanon stabbed, right? But yeah, it's inevitable. Probably die anyways, right? The next episode, but yeah, what did it say like this though? Characters. Oh, okay, I get it now. First Twilight, the sixth one, Rosa Kraus, Rudolph, Kyrie, Shannon, and Goda. Second Twilight, those who shall remain will be teared apart, Eva, Hideyoshi. Third Twilight, those who remain shall praise my noble name. Did it ever happen though? I didn't even realize. Fourth Twilight, gouge the head and kill. You saw the smell, right? It was Kinzo, right? Head. Yeah, they found a stake in his head. So it actually happened though, the fourth Twilight. Fifth Twilight, gouge the chest. It happened with Kanon. So the next ones are gonna be the stomach, the knee, the leg. So at least three people. At least three people will still die. Stomach, knee, and leg. And on the night Twilight, the witch shall revive and none shall be left alive. So yeah, we are gonna get at least 3 more deaths I guess until we reach climax or whatever, right? But yeah, it actually did happen though with Kinzo. Yeah, I kind of forgot. I was saying earlier, why was the fourth Twilight gouge the head didn't happen? It went to the fifth, right? And then yeah, I just realized after this, like, oh yeah, gouge the head for Kinzo. Because yeah, even though he was burned, there was still a stake in his head, right? Okay. It is getting very, very intense. In a very, very dangerous situation right now. People are dying left and right. And we'll see what happens. So we are going to continue this and do more of Umineko When They Cry in the next one. So I'll just see you then, guys. Bye-bye.